Secondly, I think it's a stepping stone to success because it makes us more powerful. And I know you may look at that and go, missing the connection on that one. Here's what the Bible says in James chapter 4 and verse 6. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. There are a few things more humbling than failure. Right? Man, when you fail and it's out there, it's like, it's humbling. But when we're humbled, we begin to incur God's favor. Because God resists, He works against, He pushes back against the proud people. But the humble people, He gets behind and He pushes them forward. And He gives them this thing called grace. And grace, when it's fully understood, is the undeserved favor of God, whereby Jesus works in me to do for me what He cannot do for myself. Grace is power for living. And failure makes us humble, and humility opens the floodgates for the favor and the grace of God, which gives us more power to live as we ought. Failure makes us more powerful. And I think, too, failure makes us more resilient. Because when you fail, especially if you fail kind of big, it feels like I'm going to die. My life is over. But then something really weird happens. You wake up the next day. And it's a hard day, but you wake up the next day. And all of a sudden you experience a few good things here and there. And you begin to learn that life can deal you an incredible blow. You can deal yourself an incredible blow and survive and live and move on and experience good things again. The person who has learned that they can take a real body blow and still move on is a person who becomes resilient in life. There was years ago, 1930s, there was a little guy whose name was Truett Cathy. Boy, last name Cathy, Truett Cathy. And he was like a born entrepreneur. He discovered that if he bought a case of Cokes, he could sell them for 5 cents more per bottle than he bought them. And he began making money. Then he found in the summer, if he iced them down, he could make 10 cents a bottle. He helped the front of the newspaper route when he was about 12 years old. He ended up taking over the route. Ended up being the most successful little newspaper boy in the area. He was going to establish a business. He was an entrepreneur. He had the knack for making money. But then, in the 1940s, this World War II thing happened. So during going into the business, he joined the Army. As many valiant people did, and went off and he served his country. When he came back, changed person, but he still had the burning desire to be an entrepreneur. So he got together with his 2 brothers, and they decided they were going to open a restaurant. They called it the Dwarf House. I have no idea why. But that restaurant actually began making money from week 1, which for a new business is unheard of. It began to thrive. They began to make in money. This thing was really working. One day, Truett's 2 brothers were on a private plane taking a business trip, and the plane crashed, and both brothers and business partners perished. Truett was devastated. How in the world was he? Losing his brothers, 2 people who helped run the bit. He's devastated. And he mourned, and there was the funeral, but he kept going on, and he discovered that, even with a blow like that, it can change you and it can mark you, but life can be good again. So he just kept putting himself in the business, and it began to prosper even more. Then one night he's laying in bed and he gets a telephone call. He says, the restaurant's on fire. He hustles down there just to see the last remnants of the building going down. Then realizes he didn't have a fraction of the insurance on the building that he needed. What a blow. He didn't know what else to do. So he just began to rebuild. And as the rebuilding came to an end, he began to feel, not really well, and he went for a checkup. Turns out there was something wrong with his skull, and he had to have surgery. Right when the business most needed him to have that turnaround actually happen, now he's laying in a hospital bed for like a month. How do you overcome that? But as he lay there in that hospital bed, he thought, I came back from World War II and all of the horror I saw there. I came back from the death of my two brothers. I'm coming back from my restaurant being burned to the ground. I can come back from this. How can I come back from this better? And as he was thinking along those lines, he thought about their best dish in the restaurant. It was a chicken. He said, what happens if I took that chicken and I just made it a filet and I put it on a bun with a pickle and I sold it with lemonade? And he started, when he got out of the hospital bed, this goofy little company called Chick-fil-A, which today is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. See, what Truett Cathy learned is you can take a blow, and it can hurt, but you can come back. And when you come back, you realize we're resilient. So if another blow comes, you go, I know this hurts, but I can come back. And could I just suggest to you that if we were wiser people and more spiritually powerful people and more resilient people, that would we not all agree we're on the pathway to success? Would you agree with that? And guess where all those things come from? Failure. If you respond to failure right. Failure doesn't make you failure. And failure doesn't ruin our lives. If we respond to it right, it's simply a stepping stone to success. So what is there to be afraid of? I would say nothing. No, it's not pleasant. It's not easy. But it's not the end, and it's not death. Responded to right, it's the pathway to true success in life. Failure's not an option. No, it's an inevitability. So what? It doesn't define who you are and cannot keep you from the substantial life you desire. It's just present.